Have you ever stopped to think about how music has changed over time? I mean, really changed. Today we're going to go on this incredible journey to see how technology has totally rewired everything about music, from the very first instruments to computers that are literally writing songs right now. Let's get into it.
So, let's start with a crazy question. How did an entire orchestra, and a rock band, and your favorite pop star get squeezed inside your phone? Seriously, the device in your pocket holds more music than any king from 100 years ago could even imagine. To figure out how we got here, we've got to go back in time. Like, way back.
First stop, the acoustic age. This is the world before electricity, a time when every single note of music had to be made live right in front of you. Music was amazing, for sure, but it was also temporary. It was here one moment and gone the next.
And for most of human history, progress was pretty slow. I mean, we're talking thousands of years to go from simple bone flutes to more complex instruments like trumpets. Then, in the 1700s, boom, the piano is invented, which was a huge deal because you could finally play loud or soft just by how you touch the keys. By the 1800s, factories started making instruments easier to get, but there was still one giant problem.
And this is the most important thing to get about this whole era. If you weren't physically there, in the room, to hear the music being played, you just missed it, forever. There was no replay button, no recording, nothing. And that one simple fact set the stage for a revolution.
And that revolution was electric. This is where the story really starts to accelerate. Because with electricity, humanity suddenly solved two of music's oldest problems: how to make it last forever and how to make it really loud.
The first game changer was this thing right here, the phonograph. When Thomas Edison invented it, he created the first machine in history that could actually capture sound. You see, it worked by carving the vibrations from a sound into tiny grooves on a cylinder. It was literally writing with sound.
Think about how mind-blowing that was. This wasn't just some cool new gadget. It completely broke the rules of time. A musical performance was no longer a fleeting moment. You could save it, you could share it, and you could listen to it again and again.
So, that's permanent sorted. But what about making music louder? Let's look at the poor guitar player. Back in the early jazz bands, guitarists were stuck in the back, totally drowned out by all the loud trumpets and saxophones. They might be playing something amazing, but nobody could hear it. Electricity was about to change all that.
And here's how. See, an electric guitar isn't naturally loud. Those metal strings vibrate over a magnetic device called a pickup. The pickup turns those vibrations into a tiny electrical signal. That signal zips down a cable to an amplifier, which cranks up the power and blasts the sound through a speaker. All of a sudden, the quiet guitarist was front and center, becoming the star of the show.
Okay, so we can record sound, and we can make it super loud. What could possibly be next? Well, the next leap was maybe the biggest of all, creating brand new sounds from scratch. Welcome to the world of the synthesizer.
A synthesizer is a true music machine. It doesn't amplify a real sound. It actually generates its own sound using pure electricity. So it can be programmed to sound just like a piano or a violin, or it can make these wild, futuristic, sci-fi sounds that no other instrument on Earth could ever create.
And the power of the synth was just incredible. Think about the sound of 80s pop music. That was all synthesizers. Or the epic atmospheric scores for movies like Star Wars. Synthesizers. They even gave a single musician the power to sound like an entire orchestra. It was basically a revolution in a keyboard.
All right, now we're jumping into the digital age. This is a moment where these super expensive tools that were once locked away in fancy recording studios were suddenly put into the hands of, well, pretty much anyone with a computer.
And the key to all of this was software called a DAW, which stands for Digital Audio Workstation. The easiest way to think about a DAW is like Google Docs or Microsoft Word. But instead of typing words, you're arranging sounds. You can record, edit, chop up, and paste audio just like you would with text.
And this change was just massive. I mean, what used to cost a fortune and require a huge room full of giant equipment can now be done on a simple laptop sitting in your bedroom. It blew the doors wide open. Suddenly, anyone with an idea could make a professional-sounding track.
So how does the computer know what notes to play? A lot of the time, it uses a special language called MIDI. Now, MIDI is super clever. It doesn't record the sound itself. It just records the instructions for the sound. Things like play a middle C, this loud for 1 second. It's just data. And because it's just data, MIDI is unbelievably flexible.
you could record a melody on a keyboard, and then, inside your computer, you can just tell it, okay, now play those same notes but use a drum sound, or a flute sound, or a spaceship sound. It's like a musical chameleon.
Another huge tool that came with the digital age is sampling. This is the art of taking a tiny piece of an existing recording, like a cool drum beat from an old song, and then reusing it to build a brand new piece of music. It's basically making a collage, but with sound.
And you can sample just about anything. A drum beat, a single piano note, a little bit of someone singing, anything. Sampling became the absolute foundation of hip-hop, where producers would find these amazing forgotten old records and loop a tiny piece to create a whole new track. It totally changed the definition of being a composer.
So it's clear that technology completely changed how music gets made, but it also totally transformed how we listen to it. It took the entire history of music and put it right in our pockets.
And this part of the story happened so fast. It started with the Walkman, which was the first time you could really take your music with you. Then came portable CD players, which were kind of clunky. Then tiny little MP3 players that could hold thousands of songs. And now, of course, our phones do all of that and more. Which brings us right back to our original question. How did that orchestra get in your phone? Well, the internet and streaming services did it. Today, you have instant access to a library of over 100 million songs. That's not just one orchestra. That's almost every orchestra, every band, and every artist who ever recorded, ever.
So what's left? What's the next frontier? Well, it's already here. It's artificial intelligence. Right now, computers aren't just playing music back. They're learning the patterns and rules of music, and they're starting to compose and create brand new songs all by themselves.
And that leaves us with a really fascinating question. For all of history, an instrument was something a person played. But as AI gets more and more creative, you have to wonder, will the next great composer be a human holding a guitar? Or will it just be a really, really smart app? What do you think?